Well, America has officially joined the Israel and Palestine war. We don't know when God is coming back. We don't know when Jesus is returning, but could be very soon. And the reality is this. This is more than politics. This is more than political. Personally, I am a independent politically, but when it comes to social politics, I have more conservative values because the Bible is very clear on what it teaches. I don't trust the American government. I don't fully trust the Israeli government, and I for sure don't trust the Iranian government. But you know who I do trust? God, Jesus. And what I do know is that Israel is God's nation, and the Jews are God's people. Now, the people in power, the politicians in power over Israel are not always defending the Holy Land for holy reasons. You know, in the past, even now, even I've heard some stuff about Netanyahu that isn't that good. You know, there's a lot of misinformation out there, but either way, even now, there's been a lot of people in power throughout history and even now in Israel that are secular and that are using religious dogma for their personal gain. And that's not biblical, and I don't trust them. But Israel is still God's nation, and they have a right to self-defense. And there are genuine religious Jews who have the conviction that that is their holy land. And even if they don't fully agree with the government, and even if they do genuinely sympathize with the innocent Palestinians who are affected by the war and by Israel's position in the Holy Land, this is just reality. This is just the world we live in. Israel is God's nation. The Holy Land is theirs. And ultimately, there are many peaceful Muslims. And there are many Jews who want peace, but understand that war is inevitable and is needed for self-defense and for their survival. And there are many Americans who hold that same peaceful, compassionate view of self-defense for Israel. It's a very complex situation. There are diverse views. There are many peaceful Muslims, many peaceful Americans, many peaceful Jews. And there are many hateful Americans, many hateful Jews, and many hateful Muslims. But the reality is this. The ultimate overall supernatural biblical reality is this. God is using America. God is using Donald Trump. Whether you agree with him or not, to be honest with you, I don't fully agree with Donald Trump on everything, and I don't trust him. I think he's another politician that probably doesn't always do what's right, and is probably hiding stuff from us. But you know what? God is still using him, and God is still using America to support Israel, and Israel is still God's nation. No matter how much they sin, no matter how much they mess up, Israel is still God's nation. The Holy Land is still promised for them. And yes, there are many peaceful Muslims. Yes, there are many Muslims that are affected by the radical regime in Iran. But overall, if you read the Quran, if you read the second half of the Quran, if you look into history, overall, Islam is a perversion of Judeo-Christianity, and it is a hateful religion. There are many peaceful Muslims. There are many different interpretations. But if you read the Quran at face value, as we should read the Bible, I'm a radical Christian. I'm against war. Radical Jews. If you read the Bible, if you read the Old Testament, if you read the Torah at face value, it's only for self-defense, never for conversion. And whenever it could be seen as for conversion, it is just another judgment day. It is just another judgment from God. And God always gives them time to repent. And the people of Israel, their hearts had to be right before they could, go in there and kill people. But Islam, if taken at face value, is the only one of the Abrahamic faiths that says, Judaism and Christianity never says convert or die. They always say, if God tells us to bring divine judgment onto them, because they've had time to repent, we will. But those are very localized and very rare. But most of the time, it is not that way at all. They do not. The Jews have never had any control over telling a nation, convert or die. And even when God told the Jews to essentially do that, he gave them centuries to repent for their sin. He gave the Canaanites and the Amalekites centuries to repent for their sin, but they never did. And they were doing child sacrifices and everything. And the stuff that radical Islam does is absolutely sick, disgusting, and horrible. And there are many peaceful Muslims. The majority of Muslims are peaceful, I will say that. The majority of Muslims are peaceful, and they would agree with me. But they are confused, and they are lost, and they need Jesus. If you read the Quran at face value, it's the only Abrahamic religion that essentially gives you the power to say convert or die in certain situations. Pray for Israel. Pray for peace. And the only time true peace is going to come over there is when Jesus returns. God bless.